Welcome back to Kerbal Space Program. As you recall, in the last episode we had a little bit of fun altering the course of Fuel 2 and Fuel 3 so that they would actually get somewhere. Fuel 2 is now on a course that will, in 181 days, bring it to Duna. Fuel 3, right here, is on a course that will, in something over 2 years, bring it to Jool. However, in the meantime, at Duna, there is a Kethane mining ship that crash landed on Ike, tipped over, engines broke off, and it is now useless. So we need to get another Kethane mining ship together, one that will have less problems with crashing. And so I spent a few hours yesterday working on a new design. And I think I've come up with something pretty reasonable. And yes, I have installed a laser system mod, not the whole thing, just the standalone laser system docking camera, because I think I've seen it used in a few videos, and I kind of like the idea of that. So Fuel Factory Mark III is the result of my design efforts. Alright, here we are. Back off the zoom a little bit. And some of this design may look familiar because the booster section, the lower portion here, is the same. It is the booster section from the XD Drive Mark II, because I've found that to be a very useful lifting vehicle. Now from here up is the fuel factory. It carries a 8,000 liter Kethane tank and 4 of the let's see, what size is that? These guys, the 1440 liter the X200-32 fuel tanks. It's got 4 of those. And here I'm using the middle of the road, skipper engine, which is somewhat between the mainsail and the poodle. And of course up here we've got the quantum struts for a firm attached to the booster vehicle that will take it interplanetary. There is 4 of the Gigantor solar panels, docking lights, and so on. I decided to use this new cupola capsule, although I admit it kind of blows some of the visibility by putting batteries and a docking port up here, but there was no other place to put them. So it's time to get this thing on its way. And here we are on the launch pad, and it looks like Elson Kerman is going to be flying this mission. And you will notice I do have a MechJeb on here, and what I'm using is the MechJeb 2, and what I've got up here is the flight stats. At some point later on I will probably be using Smart ASS for steering control, but that's the extent of it. MechJeb is not going to fly the mission. It is a flight computer and will be used as such. In any event, let us get this bird into orbit. It lifts off a little bit easier than the other one, than its XD Drive Mark V cousin. But its flight parameters are very similar, very much the same. It comes very close to dangerously overheating, but it doesn't overheat too much, and I can actually leave the throttle all the way open. Now, this part of the vehicle here, it's designed to be able to land on moons or planets as needed and still be able to lift off again. And it should do a reasonable job. wonderful 5 frame per second liftoff. We'll lose a bunch of these engines right here in a minute. There we go. That should give us an increase in frame rate. Ooh, 6 frames a second. Wonderful. There we go. Another stage down. And now I will go ahead and bring this thing into orbit and I'll catch you there. Approaching our orbital altitude. Okay, 86 kilometers, 87, that's good. Alright, now let's get out here and get a circularization maneuver. Nothing fancy. Just circularize the orbit. Okay, 85 by 87. That looks good to me. Get over onto the maneuver node and burn that down in about a minute. Well, a little over a minute. All right. Warp ahead to burn. It's saying 2 seconds estimated, but I don't trust that. I'm going to go at about 15. And I think that was a better guess. Much better guess. Okay, it looks like we have an orbit. Not a whole lot of fuel left, but that's all right. All right. 114 by 86. Not exactly what I had in mind. And we can fix that. Get rid of that node. Periapsis is coming up too close. Time warp ahead a little bit, get past periapsis. And now set up a maneuver for the next time at periapsis. Bring the apoapsis back down to about 86 or so. That's good enough. Get lined up on the node, warp around and burn it. Let's see, let's hit the lights. They're not going to show much, but they'll at least show where that part of the ship is. Okay, you can quit wobbling now. All right, warp around. I'm not concerned about the low fuel on this thing because there is a ship in orbit that happens to be full of fuel. An XD Drive Mark II that I launched quite some time ago and has been sitting in orbit ever since. So I'm going to have this ship meet up with that one, load up on fuel. And then I can get that other ship out of orbit. So there's one less thing that has to be processed and dealt with. Back on the node. I'll do my burn in about T-minus 10 seconds. Shouldn't even need full thrust for it. Good enough. 86 by 87. That works. Now, get rid of this. And this orbit is the XD Drive Mark II, and we will switch to it. And let's go ahead and set the fuel factory as target. And there's going to be a plane change required here. And actually, I should do the plane change in that one, because it's the one that's off plane. So we'll switch back to it. Set that one as target. Okay, here is our ascending node. Okay. Zero, zero. That works. Here's our node. Get lined up and we'll burn that. And oh yeah, I should pay attention to the power situation. Go ahead and extend the solar panels, even though there isn't much solar right now for them to grab a hold of, and we can turn the lights off. Alright, 6 minutes from the node. Warp ahead and burn the plane change. Burn. Okay, good enough. Minus 0.1. That's not bad. And that should have this ship catching up with the target in a reasonable amount of time. So we'll warp time ahead. And I'll be back when we've got a close approach. Okay, that didn't take as long as I figured it might. In 9 minutes, we're going to be about 45 kilometers away from it. So if we set a maneuver right about there, should be able to bring that close approach really close. Separation 1.9 kilometers. Let's see if we can get some closer. .1, 1.7, okay. All right, back that up a little bit. 1.9. I'm going to go ahead and go with that. And we'll switch around here. Get lined up for the maneuver. And burn it, because we're right on top of it. Okay, and you can see here I've created a custom window with MacJeb, and I'm showing closest approach distance is now right about a kilometer. And we'll get there in 13 minutes. It also shows apoapsis and periapsis, time to each, terminal velocity, which is handy during launch, and the total delta V available. So, let's close in. There's our target up here, 89 kilometers in closing. Okay, 4 kilometers away. All right. Let's get rid of that maneuver node. We don't need that anymore. And get into position for a braking burn. I have yet to see how this ship performs in docking mode with the thrusters and whatnot, but I suppose we're going to find out soon. And commence braking. Now let's just get around here to target and burn towards it. I am going to use Smart ASS for the steering controls. Target, relative velocity minus. turn that thruster off. Alright, there we go. 1.9 kilometers and closing. Closest approach is now 630 meters. So when we get close to that, we will burn again and decelerate. Of course, being able to keep it on camera is sometimes a challenge. One thing I will definitely not be using is MacJeb's docking autopilot. I tried that in a test a while back, and it uses entirely too much RCS. Alright, let's do some braking. Target plus. I managed to overshoot the burn and send myself away from it again. Alright. Velocity negative. And this should be the final braking burn before going into docking mode for the rest of it. I should also say here at some point during this particular episode is that I'm doing a long recording session here, and I'll be breaking that into multiple episodes. Where is my target again? Actually, we need relative negative. We need to come to a rest, come to a stop relative to this thing. Which means I need to stop using full thrust because it's taking too long to wind down. Get the relative velocity down to 0. That's close enough. Okay, turn that off. Get rid of that. And go ahead and get rid of this and switch to docking mode. And the chase cam. Alright. Get oriented. And do the approach thing. There we go. Now, can I select my docking port? Not yet. Oh, this thing's using lots of RCS. Alright, RCS off. And we will switch to the other ship. So obviously this one is not good for docking. There we are. Double click to set it as target. Let's try that again. There we go. Chase cam. All right. I'm going to have to work on improving my thruster placement on this Kethane ship because it's obviously wrong, or the thing would actually not be wobbling its thrusters all over the freaking place. Still not close enough to select a docking port. And this ship, by the way, has a full load of a lot of fuel, so that will enable this one to get where it needs to go. Okay, we have our docking port target. I don't remember if this... No, this one... Yeah, it does have lights. Okay. Oh, that's right. Let's do... Control from here and activate docking camera. I don't know how good the docking camera is going to do in the dark, but we'll give it a try. Closing in. From what I understand, the red X indicates where we're aimed. And these, I think it's the white crosshairs that indicates the thing where the part we're aiming at. So between this and the nav ball markers, it looks like we're pretty much on target. Which is a good thing because we can't actually see the target. Oh, there it is. And we're way off. with a sincere need to back up and try it again. Alright, let's see if we can do it with this. Closing in. Trying to keep the red crosshair centered on where we're aiming for. Looks good. Okay, I think we got it. Down a bit. On target. Nice, slow, easy approach. I definitely believe we got it this time. SAS off. We're wobbling. And we're docked. Docking camera off. Okay, now to get this thing refueled. Start with the outboard engines and then load up the center tank, or actually all the tanks. I'm fully expecting this to use just about all of the fuel on this ship here. In fact, it might even need more than that. Yeah, I think so. Only able to fill up 2 of these large tanks on the Kethane ship. And I'm not quite sure that's going to be full. No, it's not. Okay. some fuel from here to finish that off. There. Okay, so what I'm going to go ahead and do control from here and undock that one.